Here's a look at some of the things the Texans were able to do either with scheme or scheme/trick plays against the Colts at home in week 1. Of course, we know this game ended up in a tie. Somewhat disappointing finish for the Texans, who seemed like they had control of the game. The big splash or the big plays in this game obviously was made by O.J. Howard. O.J. Howard's lined up here as the inside tight end and the 2 tight ends set to the right. There's actually a 3rd tight end, so it's 13 personnel. They attack the Colts to the boundary with these outside release seam routes by the inside tight end. You're going to see 2 examples of it. Pull this back for you so you can see where he comes from. Either a blown coverage by what looks like an inside linebacker right here, or the corner here. There's 2 tight ends to match up with. Say one of them's going to outside release out here. Howard's going to outside release and then get up the seam, and it's just too much width for this free safety to cover. You can see he's wide open, catches the ball, good body protection. Davis Mills put the ball up high, which kind of puts O.J. Howard at risk, but he trusted him, number one. Guy was only on the field for 12 snaps, had 2 targets, 2 of which were touchdowns. End zone angle, same play. Here he is. You'll get a great view here of the release by both tight ends on the right-hand side. On the backside, it looks like man by the strong safety over here who's almost off screen to your left. You can see the space that's provided. Accurate throw. When I say threw it high, I mean he threw it up over the linebacker so the linebacker couldn't get to it. Great hands by O.J. Howard. I hope he can bring this type of playmaking ability to the Texans offense. I mean, they got Brandon Cooks. Dameon Pierce is athletic and is going to be a problem for a lot of people. Similar formation, and except that instead of having a 3rd tight end here on the backside, they've split the 3rd tight end out. And this is all obfuscation, if you ask me, just trying to hide their intention. So we'll pull it back to the beginning so you can see it. So you got 2 tight ends up to the top. I assume number 9 is a tight end. Maybe he's a running back. So maybe this is 22 personnel. But in essence, the way they're lining up on the first one was 13 personnel. This will make it look like 12. But again, I think you got 1 tight end here and then 2 up top. But in any case, the inside guy up top is O.J. Howard. Outside release, up the seam, wide open, touchdown. Not sure what they identified in the Colts red zone defense. Maybe it's the cover 3, 1 high safety look. But look at how wide open he is. I mean, he is incredibly wide open. You got 2 receivers down to the bottom, so that's going to hold this free safety's attention somewhat. And it just opens up the seam to the boundary side. 2 very similar route, well, the same exact route by O.J. Howard, for real. Boundary side, outside release seam route, running up the top of the numbers. Took advantage of the Colts defense. I really feel like the Texans out-schemed them and out-executed them early. But, obviously we're not able to get the win. They ended up with a tie. Great hands by O.J. Howard. Davis Mills, I think, is a guy who can get things done when you give him specific things to look at and do. You can see as soon as he reverse pivots, fake the handoff to Pierce, he's now looking at this free safety who's off screen. We can't see him down here at the bottom portion of the screen, but he's outside of the right hash here. So once Davis Mills lets go of the ball, he knows O.J. Howard's going to be wide open. All right, one more thing that they did. Skip this one. One more thing that they did to try to scheme open some people was a little flea flicker. So handoff to Burkhead, flips it back to Davis Mills, and you got Cooks running right down the middle of the seam. We would call it a lube route, but it's a poorly thrown ball, if you ask me, by Davis Mills. Cooks is going to kind of stutter here, make it look like he's blocking, and then take off. This free safety is going to fly up. Probably he's looking at too many eyes in the backfield. There's a whole lot of people that are talking about your free safety having eyes in the backfield all the time. That's not true. Yeah, that's a way for you to get set up like this. And in fact, it's possible that the Texans installed this play for this week because they saw the Colts free safety looking in the backfield. Don't know that to be sure, but I have been a part of game plans where that's what we see. And so we install something like that to put a bad read in a free safety's mind. All right, so it's trips to one side. Here's the number 3 receiver. Here's the tight end to the strong side. Cooks is off screen to our right. Little short toss. Pitches it back. Here's Cooks right here taking off, and there's the free safety who realizes, oh shoot, I'm out of position. And this ball clearly could be way better thrown. He kind of turns Cooks around. If it was thrown more on the trajectory that he's running on, on this, not that angle, that's a bad angle. If it was thrown like, a little less than a 45, to give Cooks, space to run onto. This is a touchdown. Looks like to me Davis Mills is trying to be real conservative with this and not miss. They generate a big play out of it. You would have loved to have seen them get a touchdown on it. 3 plays where I think the Texans kind of out-schemed or outwitted and then clearly out-executed the Colts defense. It wasn't enough to get them a win. Love to see them, if they're going to be able to do these type things all year, which is just out-coaching people, really, in these 3 instances, not for the whole game. If they're going to be able to do these things all year, you'd like to see them capitalize on it. Because if the players work on some of these, not trick plays, but some of these schemed up plays, some of these design plays all week, and they hit, you kind of expect that there's other things they're working on that are hitting or converting on during the game as well. Big return for O.J. Howard. Love to see him take advantage of the vast potential he has. Never really lived up to the billing of being the 19th pick in Tampa Bay. Picked up by Buffalo and then released, I think, in the same year. Houston's got him, 12 snaps, 2 touchdowns on 2 targets. I want to see the guy get, 6, 7, 8 targets in a game and see what he can do with the football with some more consistent opportunities. I'm not sure what the other tight end talent is like down there in Houston, but certainly, if O.J. Howard is not your primary tight end, he's quite a talented number 2 guy or even number 3. Appreciate you guys watching the video. If it's your first time checking out something on my channel and you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you really like this video, think other NFL fans or Texans fans would enjoy it, please consider sharing it on social media to help increase its reach and exposure.